Hi, I'm Lillian. Welcome back to my channel Ink and Pages. Today I'm going to be talking about my plans for this year's Nanowrimo. Nanowrimo stands for National Novel Writing Month, and the idea is that you try and write 50,000 words of the first draft of a book. I absolutely love NaNoWriMo. I love participating each year, and this will be my 7th time doing so. Even though I've never actually won, I've never actually written 50,000 words of a draft of a new book, but I still consider each year I've taken part to be successful, because for me the point isn't to win it by hitting this word count, it is just to take part and try and write every single day in November. The closest I ever did get to winning it was in 2016, where I wrote over 40,000 words, and I'll put a little graph in here so you can see all of my previous year's attempts and see how my word count has fluctuated over the past 6 years. This year I'm going to be aiming for 15,000 words, which is maybe a slightly low goal, but is also just me being realistic. I know I'm going to be busy in November, I've got a lot going on, and I know I'm just going to be a bit too stressed and overwhelmed to do as much writing as I would like to. So by setting myself this lower goal, I'm hoping I can still reach it without too much stress and still call this year's NaNoWriMo a success overall. It is always the case that every single year, no matter what word count I set myself, I always have that moment where I'm like, oh, what if I just tried to write 50,000 words? Like, that's the whole point. What if I just properly committed myself to doing it? Wouldn't it be so great if I actually ended up writing that much? And then I come to my senses and realise that that's just not going to happen, but that's fine with me. Because for me, winning NaNoWriMo doesn't actually mean reaching 50,000 words. It really means writing something every day for 30 days in a row, no matter how big or small the end word count ends up being. So I'm aiming for 15,000, and anything I manage to do beyond that will just be a nice little bonus. So this year my main story is called Seaside Mystery, until I can think of a better name for it. It's set in a small fictional town on the coast of England, and there are 4 childhood friends who reunite for the first time since they were children, and then there is a murder. So it's a murder mystery, and I'm really excited to write it. Somewhat unusually for me, I have actually planned this story out pretty much completely from start to finish. I know about the setup, I know about the murder, I know who done it, and I know how the mystery is finally solved. Here are a few photos I've saved on Pinterest so you can get a vibe of what I want the story to be. I've had this idea for ages actually. I remember when I was briefly furloughed at the beginning of this year, going for long walks with my friend Daisy and talking to her about the story. So it's actually been planned since February, I would say. Every previous year I have picked a story idea to be my main NaNoWriMo project, but when my brain got distracted and wanted to write other things, I just let it, and then I would count everything I wrote towards my NaNoWriMo word count. So even though I say that the Seaside Mystery is going to be my main project for this year, if I get distracted 3 days in and I want to write something else, I'm just going to let myself, I'm not going to feel bad about it. Because every previous year I have ended up switching between multiple projects, and it's always been really, really fun. I just got to write whatever I wanted, and that is how I enjoy doing NaNoWriMo. 2 years ago for the 2019 NaNoWriMo, I ended up taking a few days off work and taking myself on a writer's retreat to Brighton for a couple of days, and that was so fun. I managed to get so much writing done. But in my current job, I can only take time off during school holidays, of which there are none in November, but I am still going on a weekend away with some friends for another friend's birthday. We are going to Norfolk for 2 days, and we're going to be staying by the coast, so that fits perfectly for me and my story idea. I'm hoping it's going to give me lots of inspiration for it, and I'm hoping it will keep me in the mood to write the Seaside Mystery. But even if it's quite a busy weekend and I don't actually have that much time to write, the 5-hour train journey there and back will definitely give me an opportunity to get some words down. Now I'm going to quickly show you my bullet journal setup for November and NaNoWriMo this year, which I had a lot of fun doing. So here's a quick flip through of the pages I've set up so far. It is a bit simpler than last year's setup, which I made a whole video for this time last year, and I will link that in the description if you're curious. So here is the title page and a quick overview of November. Some people are very pleased that it's such a perfect month and it starts on a Monday, but I am not, because I was hoping it would start nearish a weekend so I could start off strong and bump up my word count. And then here is this month's habit tracker. It is exactly the same as last month, but with an added habit of NaNoWriMo. So I'm really hoping I can fill this in for every single day. And here is this month's mood tracker. I really, really love how this looks. I copied it entirely off Pinterest. It's not my design at all. And so I will link the source of it in the description to this video, but I'm just in love with it. And then here is my reading tracker. Don't think this is gonna end up being very full in November, but I live in hope. And then this mostly still blank spread is going to be my overall NaNoWriMo 2021 tracker. I'm going to do a line graph of my total word count, but I think I'm not going to fill it in until the very end of the month, because then I'll know what scale to put on the y-axis, because obviously only then will I know my total word count. But to give you an idea of what this will look like, here is the one I did last year. Then this double page is going to be my daily word count tracker. On the left, I'm going to do a bar chart of how many words I write each day. But again, I think I'm only going to fill that in near the end of the month when I'll know what my most successful day was and therefore what to put on the y-axis. But this space on the right, I'll be able to fill in each day as I go. It's literally just a little box and I'll write in the total words I wrote that day. And then finally, I'll be using this page for my Nanowrimo playlist. This will just contain any songs or albums that I find myself listening to a lot while writing or planning or even just thinking about my story. And then this is what last year's playlist spread ended up looking like. So I'm going to finish this video off with a teeny tiny November TBR. I am not expecting to read very much this month. Like I said, I anticipate being very busy with work. Obviously also got NaNoWriMo happening and I'm like quite busy on all of the weekends already. So basically I'm only hoping to read 2 books. The first one is Firekeeper's Daughter by Angeline Booley. This is a YA mystery book where our protagonist's cousin is murdered and she is asked by the FBI to help them investigate. So I'm hoping the sort of mystery, hopefully murder mystery vibes will also help inspire me for my story. I'm actually reading this for 2 different readathons. The first one is the Indigathon, which is happening all the way through November. That is hosted by Bear on the channel Et2Brody and Michelle on the channel Thor Wants Another Letter, and I'll link all the information for that readathon in the description. And I'm also reading it for the Buzzwordathon. I'm once again behind on my Buzzwordathon reads, so I'm going to be reading this for the October prompt, which was to read a book with an element in the title, so obviously fire, Firekeeper's Daughter. I will therefore also need to read a book for the November Buzzwordathon prompt, which is Lost, so any book with the word lost in the title. I literally just picked 2 completely random ebooks off a library app called BorrowBox, and I've got them both and I will literally just read whichever one takes my fancy at that time. The first one is called The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart by Molly Ringland, and the second one is Lost for Words by Stephanie Butland. I don't really know what either of them is about. The first one I believe is set in Australia and I think it's historical fiction, and the second one is about like a bookshop in York. So I don't know which one I'm going to end up reading, but they both sound like quite fun, easy reads, so hopefully I'll end up enjoying whichever one I pick. So those are my plans for November. If you are also participating in NaNoWriMo, feel free to add me as a buddy on the NaNoWriMo website if you want to. I do think the website is very bad, very poorly designed, doesn't really do what you want it to do, but it can be quite fun to see how your writing buddies are doing with their own projects. And I hope that if you are taking part, you have a great time and you reach whatever goal it is you are aiming for. Thank you so much for watching this video and I will see you in my next one. Bye!